So I thought that someone else was gonna make this video. I had like all these thoughts when the season came out, but I was like, everybody's gonna be talking about this. I should narrow in on some more niche topics so that by the time I make a video about it, like it's not talked to death. I'm sure everyone's gonna talk about this. But here we are a month later, and no one's talked about it. So here we go. Now, before we get into it, let's just establish Season 4, Part 1 of Dragons Rising was amazing. It's definitely one of my favorite installments. I'm not sure if it's my favorite, but it's definitely S tier in my personal ranking anyway. There was so much character work, and the vast majority of it was really good. The animation was amazing, the best the show's ever had, absolutely breathtaking. There's frack content, so much frack content. It was separate frack content, and then there was tectonic content, and then they like meshed it together so that everything was intertwined together.
Sometimes too much.
I will be making another frack video at some point. It is only a matter of time. I went in super hyped and I came out super hyped. It's best of both worlds. There were really only 3 things that I would say were like noticeable, actively problematic things during my watch experience. First off was the pacing. The pacing of this show is whack. Everybody knows it. Everybody will tell you. One of my favorite seasons is season 11, so obviously pacing doesn't super weigh on the quality scale for me. At the very least, it's not an impassable barrier. But even I noticed that the pacing this season was super janky.
I say janky now, Lloyd.
Just so many plot lines. We were constantly cutting between all of them, and there were weirdly short clips, and like we were never allowed to just linger in the space. There are like no contained episode ideas this season. It's just a splicing between plot lines randomly assembled into 20-minute chunks. I've talked to several people for whom this ruined the watch experience for them. They could not enjoy some of the best content in the show because of the pacing. This is a dire issue for the show, and it appears to be getting worse. So you need to address it ASAP. This is top of the pile priority. Rethink whatever you're doing, that this is the structure that you've ended up with. Tear it apart and rebuild it from the ground up. And luckily, I think this is mainly an editing problem. I think you can squish a lot of things together and let plot lines play out for a little longer, and it improves. The second big problem that I had this season, you could probably guess. It was Pixel.
Zane, are you okay?
Now, unlike the last one, this is mainly a problem because I am the one watching the show. Pixel and Zane are out on their own. Zane's powers go haywire and they decide, let's split up to look for the rest of the ninja. We then never see Pixel until the end of the season, at which point she is just at the monastery with everyone else after the final battle. Now, in isolation, the scenes of Pixel which we have are cute enough. Them dancing in the middle of the woods, very cute. Pixel painting, kind of tying into the Zane art theme through line that they had, that was cute. But if you think about the bigger picture of what actually happened, it does not make sense and is actively degrading Pixel's character. Pixel was given a task. Go find the rest of the ninja. And she failed at that task.
Pixel and I split up to search for you all.
She didn't even make it back to the monastery in a reasonable amount of time. If she had been going directly there because that was her safest bet on finding any sort of ninja, then she failed at that because she didn't make it back in time to get filled in on everything that was going on and participate in our final battle. Also, if she had done anything remotely plot important on her journey, I feel like it would have been important for her to tell people about it when she got back to the monastery, but that's not what we got. We just got Pixel making it home and then sitting down to paint. So anything she did can't be that important because we don't hear about it. The only conclusion that we are left to draw is that this season, Pixel did nothing, which, you know, is the one thing that Pixel as a character kind of can't do. She is the efficiency character. She gets stuff done. For her to have gotten nothing done with no explanation as to why, completely character breaking. And maybe I should have caught on to this a little sooner. Last season, when she's the one to suggest that she and Zane go on a vacation to spend time on their own, that should have been a warning light indicator in my head. Wildly out of character. And the fact that it just randomly happens once she wakes back up, she hasn't spent years separated from Zane. It's just like one day apart for her in her mind because she was just in hibernation. So there is no reason, no motivation for her to be like, let's go have some solo time together because we've been missing each other so much. She hasn't been.
We just saw each other this morning.
And so that whole thread just compounds on top of itself this season. Pixel, for all we know, just took a very long Uber home to the monastery, and that really shouldn't be an option on the table. Now, I know that the excuse here is going to be that the writers didn't want to bring Pixel in this early. Pixel was forced back into the show. They didn't have a choice about it. To which I say, if that was the creative limitation given to you, that if you are going to make Dragons Rising, you have to include this character, then you have failed at your job as a creative to interestingly include this character.
That's huge. This is a huge moment for everyone but me.
I get it, creative restrictions suck, but also sometimes you gotta deal with them. Creative restrictions resulted in some of the best stuff in the whole show. So if the creative restriction you've been given is that you have to include a particular character, if you can't get creative with that and turn that into something interesting, that's a problem. And despite how much it might feel like somebody else's problem, that is still on you. And then of course, the last thing that really bothered me this season, unfortunately, was Jay. Jay lost his memories in the merge and has been without them the whole show, up until episode 4 of this season, at which point he gets them back. And this is perhaps the worst decision the show has ever made, and the fact that more people aren't presenting it as such is wild to me. I thought more people would be mad about this, but the consensus seems to be that, like, I mean, the scene was good, even if it didn't go the way that I personally wanted it to, so whatever, which is not the thing. The actual content of the scenes on a granular level are good. They're executed very well. The scene of Jay getting his memories back is fantastic, and I don't think you're gonna find anybody who's gonna say that this sequence was bad. I like the colors coming back into his memories. I like the joke about Jay and Nia kissing for like an episode's worth of time. Like, if the assignment that was given to you was, hey, I want you to put to screen this awful character arc, they did the best with what they had, but the point still stands that the character arc is fundamentally, deeply flawed at a core level. And to explain why, I want to talk about the Lloyd plot this season. Now, there is a lot going on with the Lloyd plot this season, and it's not all good. It is not particularly character building. It doesn't change Lloyd as a person all too much. It doesn't move the plot along, at least the main plot along, very effectively. It doesn't delve into a lot of the nuances of the ideas that it's bringing up. It's crazy that we don't really dive into Lloyd's lost childhood and how that affects him. As far as solving Lloyd's powers goes, it comes out of left field as a reveal for this long-held secret for the series. And it ends on this weird note of Lloyd failing the trial, which makes sense, but then he actually succeeds at it for reasons which I still can't explain to you. Like, it seems like the Source Dragons just decide that they want him to pass the thing, and so artificially put in place this connection between him and his teammates, which doesn't feel, I don't know.
This cannot be his end.
Like, his success should come naturally from his teammates. It should not be forced upon him by the Source Dragons. Does that make sense? I don't know. I'm not like 100% on how to interpret that whole sequence, which is a problem because it is the end of a very didactic character moment.
Trees are life. I am the master of trees.
But you know what? None of that really matters to me. None of it really affected my viewing experience because it was very clear that the writers had a message that they wanted to convey. Whether or not it fits into the larger story of Ninjago or Dragons Rising or whatever, I feel like for this season, for this plot line, the writers had a thing that they wanted to convey to the audience. And then they did it. And I understood the message that they were trying to convey. And it was a good message. So that's the point of storytelling. So good job. The message would have been improved had all of the aspects I had talked about been better, but you know, this still works. Our connections to each other are the most powerful force of all. That is an interesting message, and I liked the way they conveyed it. They even found a way to convey it which was different than the Lego Ninjago movie, which, by the way, I totally called them going the Lego Ninjago movie route. Just saying. We are moving into Ninjago movie territory here, mark my words. But in the movie, it's a joke at first. What is Lloyd's power is this self-deprecating question about how stupid his power is. And then it's revealed to be this very sweet, sentimental thing. And in the show, Lloyd's power is this all-important, most powerful thing in the whole world before being revealed to be this very sweet and sentimental thing. The movie goes and builds it up, and the show takes it and simplifies it down. They're coming at it from opposite directions, and it was an interesting enough spin on the message that I found it all very interesting. And that is the core thing that I think is missing from the whole Jay plotline, is that it just has nothing to say for itself. And even if you try and listen to what it might be mumbling, it turns out what it's saying is like actively bad and harmful. Like for the first time, I think Dragons Rising has conveyed a message which I actively disagree with, which is like the whole thing I liked about the show. It had so many good messages. And then you get to this plot line and it's just like, No,
sorry.
Let's break it down. Let's go through it in stages because it starts out very well. So we start out beginning of this season. It turns out that Jay wants to be a ninja now. Him going away from the team last season was him being self-conscious about not fitting into the ninja family. We learned this in a little monologue flashback sequence, which again, I'm not really a fan of flashbacks, but okay.
And that made me feel more lonely than I'd ever felt.
Like, I feel like that would have been way more effective if we learned Jay's feelings on the whole situation at the time when it happened and not in a flashback in the exposition to this season. But whatever. We have these weird dream sequences that Jay gets about how he's not a real ninja, examining all of his insecurities about the thing.
You're one of us, Jay, not them.
Excellent sequence, tells us exactly what we need to, shown in an interesting way. I'm eating it up. I love it. And from this opening scene, we get a very clear setup for a want versus need dynamic. I know that he's going by Jay in this season, but just to differentiate between Jay with his memories and Jay without his memories, Jay without his memories I'm going to still call Rogue. Rogue wants Jay's memories because he feels like he is not as valuable a member of the team without his memories. But what he really needs is to learn that he, right now, on his own, is enough. It is very possible for him to reintegrate into the team without his memories because everyone around him still loves him and values him just as much as they did when he was Jay. He wants his memories, but he needs acceptance. This is a very clearly laid out thing in the opening moments of this plot line.
And that made me feel more lonely than I'd ever felt. I need to remember the first time we met.
We're together now. We can build new memories.
So I can anticipate that where this arc is going to go is that he's going to be going after his memories. He's going to be laser focused. It's going to be this huge obsession that clouds his judgment from realizing all the good that he has in his life right now. And so he will have to learn to let go of this idea of getting his memory back and just try and be the best person he can be right now, given what he has. And maybe after that point, eventually he gets his memories, right? Like that is the very clear very obvious path to take here, given these opening moments. I presume.
That's what training's for. Even we have to train. There's always room to grow.
You don't get it. No more failures. If I'm gonna be a ninja, I need to be a great one. It's another reason I need to remember my forgotten memories.
Kai and Nia and Rogue all decide that top priority right now is figuring out what happened to Jay's memories, and so that's what they're gonna do for this season.
We'll help you.
They go back to the place where Rogue was first found after the merge, which immediately put into my mind, why didn't Rogue go here before? Like, it seems like if that's the place where you were first found, and you as a character go through this whole thing where you realize that the administration was lying to you and you strike out to go on your own and you are looking for answers, why didn't you go back to the place where you were first found? Like, it seems like Rogue should have done that on his own way earlier. That would have been like a really cool plot line to interweave into the earlier seasons. Rogue on his own trying to decode who Jay was and slowly coming to figure out that he was a ninja, instead of just like the little 30-second teases of like, Jay's here, that we got for so long. I don't know. I think that would be interesting. A lot of the explanations that we get are stuff that we have, as a fandom, have been assuming for a while, and just more of the nuts and bolts of what happened rather than why it happened, which feels like a little bit of a letdown after so many seasons of build-up. Like, I feel like on some level, this is kind of like getting to the point where the show is like, we're finally gonna get to the bottom of Wu causing the merge, and all of us are like, whoa, yeah, let's do it. And then the main thing that we get out of the new content is that it turns out that Wu used Traveler's Tea to initiate the merge, and it's like, I mean, that's cool to know, but like, that wasn't the main question that I had about Wu causing the merge. So they find out about this memory machine, and it is possible to get Jay's memories back by using this machine. And then they just do it.
Can you reverse it?
Of course you can.
Like, it just happens. They're like, okay, this is where the memories are. And then they go and they get the memories.
I think this is how it works.
Like, it feels like we should have run into some more obstacles. And if this was going to be any sort of a character arc, really we needed to run into some obstacles. It happens in episode 4 of the season, of part 1 of the season. Theoretically, this is like a 20 episode season, of which we are getting the main conclusion to one of the biggest through lines in the whole show, just like a fifth of the way into the runtime, which is wild. Like, it's not even in a part 2 like Casket of Bones was. That also felt weirdly early in the season, but this is in a part 1. We just started the main motion of the plot, and already one of the most interesting through lines that people were most looking forward to is already resolved. It just like, and you go this way to the memories, and then he gets the memories.
But you're back.
I'm back.
It just happens. Like, that's the only way I can explain it, is that how does Jay get his memories back? I don't know, it just sort of happens. And the root of the problem of it just happening is that it implicitly takes Jay's side in the whole dichotomy that they set up earlier between his wants and his needs. And it sides with Jay that his wants are more important than his needs. They get to the memory machine, and it turns out you could use the machine and it could reactivate all the old Jay memories, but it could also fry your brain so that you are unable to make new memories,
Making it impossible for you to form new memories ever again.
which functionally, I mean, makes you kind of brain dead. If you can't form any sort of memories, short-term or long-term, you are just incapable of experiencing anything. And as far as I can tell, this is presented just as like a toss-up.
If this fails, we could damage your brain.
Like a 50-50 shot. You might get all your memories back, or you might completely kill your ability to experience anything ever again. Who knows? could go either way. And Rogue decides that it is worth the risk.
And I can't go on another moment without remembering it.
And the story backs him up on this by giving him no consequences for taking this extremely risky gamble. It just gives him his memories back, period, end of. It just happens.
You have your memories back?
A bunch of them.
Risking your entire future life experience just so that you can live in the nostalgia of the past was worth it. And you know what? Dragons Rising? I disagree. I disagree with that assertion. And it's not like the show just like takes it as given that Jay getting his memory back is the end goal, and so we as an audience are meant to kind of turn our brains off about it. Like, no, Nia and Kai are both like, hey, we still care about you, we still love you, we can make new memories together, you shouldn't risk this. And Jay is like, I hear you, but no, I have to do this.
Doesn't matter. Let's do it.
It presents us with the two options on the table: accepting the love that's given to you right now and working to be a better person. And then it sides with Jay in that he should want to turn himself into this previous version of himself because he isn't good enough.
We're together now.
You're here with us, back on the team.
We can build new memories.
We can make new memories, better than the old ones. There's always room to grow.
You're still the Jay I love, even without your memories.
Doesn't matter.
Like, he puts this very ill-advised choice he's kind of shunting a little bit of it onto Kai and Nia.
Apparently a whole wonderful life with all of you.
Like, I am risking my entire future life so that I can be better for you guys, so that I can be a better team member for you guys.
It's another reason I need to remember my forgotten memories.
But you don't understand, this is not a selfish thing I'm doing. I just want to be good enough for you. I am incapable of loving you, Nia, without these memories. And so I'm getting this so that I can love you even more. Like, no, don't, get out of here.
I need more than new memories. I need to remember the first time we met.
Are you sure about that?
If you actually wanted to love me, you would not risk dying for so little. This is the stupidest thing. Like, yes, remembering your past with Nia would probably deepen your understanding of your relationship with her, but also, like, not so much so that you can't accomplish just by being a loving boyfriend as is in the present. Remembering the good boyfriend that you used to be does not outweigh the importance of being a good boyfriend right now and like working towards being a better boyfriend in the future. Like, this is valuable, but this is everything that actually matters. Right? Do you understand what I'm saying here?
You guys ready?
Yeah.
Life is for living.
Life is for living.
We're together now.
All right, so some things that I was looking forward to seeing on the J arc. We'll just go down the list. I wanted to see Rogue learn to work as part of a team. Thought that would have been fun. I wanted to see the process of Rogue reforming relationships with each of the individual ninja and learning about his past life through all of them. I wanted to see Rogue slowly over time become a kinder, gentler, better person through the influence of the ninja in like a character arc sort of thing. I thought that would have been pretty interesting. I was looking forward to seeing the awkward Jay-Nia slow burn romance that happened over the course of several seasons as they like understand that they are each other's yin and yang, and yet they are not in a relationship currently, but they're building towards one as they fall in love all over again in a healthy way. I wanted to see Rogue learn that he was enough on his own. He was valuable. He had the potential to be as much and even more than Jay, even without his memories. Just like I was looking forward to seeing the transformation of Rogue going from not wanting to be a ninja to wanting to be a ninja. But you know, that happened in a flashback off screen, and all of these other things that I wanted to see just happen in this little flashback sequence. It just automatically skips over all of that. We don't need to see him go through any of these things, reforming relationships or becoming a better person, going through the legwork of courting Mia all over again, because there's just this shortcut where we just download all of his memories and then he doesn't have to do any of that stuff. And I think like Rogue has identified this. He has identified that there is a cheat code for him specifically to not have to do character growth. If he just plugs in these memories into his head, he won't have to do any of the hard work associated with any of these things that I wanted to see.
I had a whole life. Apparently a whole wonderful life with all of you.
Rogue wants a shortcut to human connection, and he just gets one. It just happens. I can't tell you how wrong it is that it just happens. The clear lesson here is that all of this stuff that Rogue thinks he can't have without his memories are things that people obtain all the time just by like going through the legwork of life, by living. It's about living. Rogue wants to skip the living part of his life. He has to realize that all of this stuff that he feels like he's missing, the process of getting them, is what life is made out of. That's what gives us joy. He should be excited to get the chance to do them again. It is not some great burden put upon you that you now have to make friends with people who already want to be friends with you. That's just... You get to give all of these people a second shot at all of these fun experiences, that they get to live them all again and you get to live them for the first time. Rogue's whole arc should have been about coming to learn that this is what he's here for. This is what we're all here for. This is life. Ugh. It's just like, this seems like one of those kind of messages that Dragon's Rising would jump at the opportunity to portray. But instead, it just goes along with Rogue's base desires and takes the shortcut. Like, it legitimately bothers me so much. Like, this is worse than Eren immediately getting his parents back after accepting that they're dead. Like, at least Eren did have to accept that they were dead in order to get them back, even if it happened like immediately afterwards. Jay never has to do that. This is like if Eren was, it's like if Eren was about to shove Sora into the casket and then suddenly his errands popped up and we're like, no, don't, we're right here. And he's like, oh, so I guess we don't have to do this then. Cool, it all worked out. That's what this plot line is!
And I can't go on another moment without remembering it.
It just doesn't have plot implications, so I don't think it registers as much for some people, but like, that's what's happening here on an emotional level. Literally, Rogue was willing to kill somebody himself in order to get this ill-advised wish of his. And then he didn't have to because he got what he wanted anyway. Rogue was broken, and he needed to be fixed by patching in Jay's memories in order to turn him into Jay. That is Rogue's understanding of the situation. But that is also the show's understanding of the situation. That is how it is presented to us as an audience, especially, you can tell, in this reveal scene. The whole framing is that Jay has finally returned.
But you're back.
I'm back.
Which should not be what the end state of this arc is. Because if Rogue had been allowed to actually develop as a character, he would have gained all of the positive traits that Jay had during his run. Getting back his memories would just reinforce the person that he has become, not turn him into an entirely different person. What you are doing right now, who you are today, who you are building towards the future, that's who you are. Again, this seems like a very basic message, idea, that this scene just completely speeds by. Also, I think that Rogue did have qualities that would benefit Jay. The main one that I see is that Rogue was just infinitely less self-conscious about everything he was doing. Jay was very aware of everyone's feelings about him constantly. He was worried about impressing people. Like, it's this his whole True Potential episode reveals that this is one of his like primary concerns in life, is what other people think of him, and so he changes himself to impress people. But he really just needs to learn to be himself, and Rogue never had that problem. Rogue had the confidence to just own whatever he was doing.
So money is all that matters to you now, Jay?
Of course not. Video games matter too. And drinking tea that's not terrible.
And I think that was something Jay would have immensely benefited from. Rogue also obviously spent some time with the bad guys, and maybe that sort of perspective would better inform Jay, having been on the flip side of things. Also, Rogue being able to define priorities for himself. Like if he went through this whole journey of being in the administration and then going rogue and working with Roz and then becoming a bounty hunter and then coming back around to, okay, but I do want to be a ninja. That sort of crisis before coming back and reaffirming yourself is super valuable. I think seeing Jay's past experiences and memories and whatever little character quirks being intertwined with all of Rogue's little character quirks would be like really cool and a real evolution of Jay as a character. So, does this plotline at least give us that? Is there any moment where Jay does something that feels a little more like Rogue than it does Jay? I think the only moment I could really say was like informed by Rogue and his personality was Jay laughing at Frack, a child who he doesn't really know.
Maybe nobody saw that.
So I guess there's that. We got a carryover of Rogue's cruelty towards children. That's a great point to carry over.
Kid, that was hilarious.
To be clear, I do like it. That was a funny joke, but it's kind of like if that was the thing that Jay got out of however many years of experience of being Rogue, Rogue was not valuable to him, and that's depressing. This is not a merging of years of being Jay with years of being Rogue into being the current day Jay. This is just a reset from Rogue back to being Jay.
I'm back.
This was not a plot line about Jay becoming a better, more rounded, developed character. This was just a whole plot line of getting Jay back. Rogue was a detour, Rogue was a bunch of cool drama stuff, but none of that was like informative to his character.
I'm the only hope you have of ever remembering your real life.
It was just build up to this moment in which Jay reappears in the story in episode 4 of season 4. Reset as if nothing happened. What a great way to develop your character. What are we doing? What have we been doing for 3 seasons? What was the point in any of this? If Jay just showed up in this episode, wherever Kai and Nia happen to be, the show would not be functionally different. The characters would not change. It would be the same. It would be the same starting point if this were the first episode in which Michael Adam Dwight had a line. Nothing would change. Why was this like one of the biggest mysteries put forth by the show? What did we spend all this time and fandom excitement on? What was the point? Why did we set this up as some big thing that was gonna happen? I look forward to where he's going. I have faith that you're gonna handle it well. It just happens. It just happens. I still have so many notes left. Where did my pen go? I don't need it, but I do like fiddling with it. Okay, hold on. We got it. Okay, and you can't tell me that they were never going to change Jay's character because the show is allergic to large status quo changes. That may be true for the plot, but it is not true for characters, like character development wise. If you want to argue that Kai in the pilot episodes is the exact same as Kai in Dragon's Rising, go ahead, but that's not an argument you're gonna win. Characters evolve, characters get more mature, they add more complexity to them all the time. And I think Jay would have benefited from some of the maturity and complexity that going through a character arc about getting his memory back would have given him. And they also do this thing where it doesn't give all of his memories back. They're coming in slowly over time, which
You remember everything now?
Not everything.
just feels like a little bit of a half measure. This is a pitch that I actually made. And when I thought about it, I was like, maybe the ideal situation is that Jay gets his memories back slowly over time. But the reason that I liked that idea is because it would have avoided having a singular moment at which Rogue becomes Jay. And given what episode 4 is, that kind of goes out the window.
I'm back.
It just reduces the whole idea of Jay getting back his memories slowly over time to a series of jokes about him getting back memories at inconvenient times, which is cute. I like that, but it is not character development. So it's the exact same problem that I have with Skybound. Jay in Skybound wants Nia. He is stuck on Nia. It is an unhealthy obsession that he should have to unlearn. But as he goes through the plot, he just continually keeps on wanting Nia. Nia keeps on telling him, no, I don't want you. You need to move on. And he keeps on going, okay, I hear you. But is there a loophole that I can maybe convince you to change your mind?
Maybe this is how she falls for me.
Even when we get to the lighthouse scene and Nia is like, but no, seriously, I do need to choose for myself though. Jay is just like, oh, yeah, I guess that kind of sucks for you. Anyway,
I never knew you felt this way.
like the dialogue may be gestures at Jay starting to understand the problem,
What do you want to be?
but never actually follows through on it. And he definitely never does any actions or says anything to prove that he understands the problem that he personally had, the problem that Nia has had with him. He doesn't prove that he values her agency. He does nothing to assert her opinion above his own. He doesn't do anything to prove that he's learned his lesson. It's implied that maybe he is starting to understand, but also it has been implied that he has started to understand in the past, and he has immediately gone back to, okay, but can I follow through on my obsession through loopholes?
I get it. A real friend wouldn't put you in that position. I'm sorry, Nia.
Thank you for understanding.
So there's no reason for us to assume that this time he means it for real though, because everything just works out and he gets what he wants anyway.
But how?
Who cares?
Like, it is theoretically possible for Jay to have gone through the character growth in these moments, but if you don't show us that he has gone through that character growth, I'm sorry, it's a lot harder for me to buy it, because he's done the same thing in the past before, and he's not gotten over it.
I get it. But no one else would find out, right?
He would be so much stronger a character if you just allowed him to actually prove character growth that he's gone through. Let go of his wants to focus on his needs. He has to let go in order to be rewarded. If his liking Nia, wanting his memories back, is still an unhealthy obsession, you cannot at that point in the story give it to him. You can't, because that then reinforces his obsession. It solidifies all of these incorrect ideas that he has about the world. That if he wants the girl bad enough, he will make it happen. That without his past, his memories, he is not worthy. Even if that's not intentionally what you did, that is the message that you're sending by fulfilling his wants instead of his needs. Jay, in both of these scenarios, needed to learn that he was worthy on his own. That it was not Nia, that it was not his memories, which made him into a full person.
Jay Walker don't need no woman.
And he did not learn that lesson either time because he was not denied those things from the story. Have him want his memory back, be obsessed with getting his memories back in order to be valuable, and have him run into barrier after barrier, make it an impossibility for him to be able to get his memories back, so that he is forced to come to terms with the fact that the people around him still love him. Despite him having this giant gap in their relationship, they still love him. He's still valuable. Force him to realize that he can still be a good person and perhaps even build his way up to being a better person, to become what he wants instead of using the shortcut, and to find fulfillment in doing it. You did not lose your opportunity at having these fulfilling relationships. They are still out there waiting for you. You just need to go take them. You did not lose your first kiss with Nia. You have been given the opportunity to give Nia a second first kiss. That's beautiful. The people here for you love you, regardless. And yes, getting those memories back, it has value to it. Our past is where we come from. It helps form us, but it is not us. We are not our memories. We are informed by our memories, but we are what we're doing right now, what we choose to live our life doing, how we affect the people around us. Connections, going back to the Lloyd plot line this whole season. I'm sorry, I'm just getting emotional because these are like big ideas, important ideas that really matter, that are just fundamentally being fumbled by this plot line for drama. And we are sorry, gosh, I did not expect to get this emotional just because we cannot remember people because of whatever reason does not mean that they love us any less, does not mean that we should love ourselves any less, does not diminish our worth, our value. Oh gosh, it's fundamental. Okay, gotta like return to my written points here. Holy cow. I'm passionate about this and it affects me. You cannot give Jay his memory back until he learns these lessons, because until he does, he is not responsible enough or mature enough in order to use those memories effectively, in order to act on them appropriately. He cannot handle the things that his memories will give him until he understands all of the things that he has without them. Another route that you can take is that him getting his memories back, maybe him getting his memories back being simple, it's too simple, and that's how we know it's off. He gets his memories back, he expects it to fix him, and it doesn't fix him. It just means that he is the same person that he's been living as for the past however many years, but also just with these other memories implanted into the back of his brain. Maybe he remembers all of his memories in his past and he realizes that Jay Walker is not this idealized person that he thought he was. And so he can take what good parts he finds in his memories, but also this was not a shortcut to becoming a perfected person. He still has to do the work. That one's a little more nuanced and kind of dark. There's multiple paths to take with this. Jay is a lot of folks' favorite character. Those people deserve to have Jay go through as much character development and have fun new dynamics of his character revealed as have the Kai stans and the Cole stans who have gotten to see these different sides of them over this new show. Like, every one of our characters deserves to enter a new era in Dragon's Rising as they incorporate more mature characteristics into their being in this new stage of their life. All of these characters deserve to progress. The fans deserve better than this, and Jay deserves better than this. In fact, when the thing that bothers me so much about the like, "Are you back? I'm back" line,
I'm back.
The core of this whole plot line should not be getting Jay back. That's the whole want versus need thing. He wants to get Jay back, but he needs to realize that he is Jay, even without his memories, right? The conclusion of this arc should not be, "Are you back? Yeah, I'm back." The conclusion of the arc should be, "Are you back? I've always been here." Right?
But you're back.
It's important to be yourself.
Like, imagine that line being the closure to this whole plot line of us wondering where Jay went. And the conclusion is that he never went anywhere. What you do right now defines you. And if you choose to define yourself as Jay, representing all of these things that you think Jay represents, then you are Jay. Like, that feels like something meaningful. That feels like that would be progress. That feels like that would show us what we're doing here. But no, he's just back. It just happens. And the other thing is, like, memory loss is a real thing that real people deal with in real life all the time. And a lot of kids probably have to interact with. Of course, amnesia is a real thing, which is the direct comparison to what Jay has here. And, you know, in real life, amnesia is not something you have direct control over. There is no memory machine that you can risk your life to get your memory back for. But also just like dementia is a real life thing that a lot of us are inevitably going to have to interface with ourselves, or at the very least with others around us. You will know someone in your life who forgets memories about you at some point. And that's tough. I think using this plot line to explore what that means and maybe give kids some tools to deal with grandparents with memory issues or something like that would be really valuable. And again, pressing home that idea that, like, despite your memories or lack of memories or whatever, you can still love people and they can still love you, because the relationships are ongoing things that you have to keep active. And so it is what you do in this moment together that matters, even if the past is hard to reach. There's a lot of good things that could have come from this, but instead it's just Jay with this continual unhealthy obsession at getting at some external worth to validate himself, as he has always done, and just getting it. His value comes from this thing that it wasn't guaranteed that he was gonna get. He's back. And we're all glad that he's back. And if he hadn't been back, we wouldn't have liked him as much, because he would have been less valuable. And that sucks. Maybe I should have made this a scripted video, huh? Oh well, too late. Reginald, you know that to do a good character arc, you need to actually have your characters learn something, right? Like, you would never write a story where you set up a character arc, and then it turns out that, like, they didn't need to learn anything because they just get everything they wanted in the end. You would never do that to me, right?